Assalamu alaikum. Rob from Islam for Europeans here. So I wanted to comment on what's going on in France. If you haven't seen the news, um, three worshippers at a church in Nice were brutally murdered by a Muslim man. Um, and the response from the Muslim world um, has been varied, to say the least. You see, when you look into transcripts and videos of Muslim leaders or heads of state, you can find that they're denouncing the event as not in accordance with Islamic teachings. Because Islam is clearly against this type of barbarity. But at the same time, it's kind of like this general sense of meh, like it's a they're the main thing that you see on the media is that they're calling for a boycott of French goods, and I'm not here to argue for or against that. Obviously the Muslim world is quite angry at what France is doing in terms of their Macron's thoughts about Islam, and apparently they've shut down several Muslim schools in France for suspected terror associations. And then a couple of days before the attack on Nice, two Muslim women were stabbed by white French women near the Eiffel Tower. So obviously this is going to escalate and get worse and worse. I don't see it getting. I don't see it getting any calmer. Um, you know, you see even. And I had a chance to watch some videos from European nationalists, and even the ones who normally have a generally good impression of Islam and its teachings, are kind of on the side that the Muslim leaders are in agreement with the attacks on Nice, and for Muslims to become even more extreme. However way the Western media is going to construe their words, the fact of the matter is, we're at a definite impasse here. And when I watched the video of Tariq Ramadan and Yasser Qadhi talking about the whole situation in France, I guess from their eyes, their whole opinion on it, or what they think the goal should be, or what they're trying to reach, is for Europeans to respect Muslims, and for them to realize that the reason why these people are going crazy, or killing random people, is not because of Islam's teachings, but because of the long history between France and the colonies that it used to have under control. So Algeria, the Congo, and historically, in their eyes, the Europeans need to understand that the massacres that occurred, however much mutual fighting there was between the two groups, that's the reason why Muslims are upset. Which in and of itself makes sense, but at the end of the day, a lot of the people in France, weren't even born, before this happened, and it doesn't give Muslims any right to go and kill or harm those people. I mean, and you can understand the frustration on the side of the Muslim community, but when you look at it, from a general European standpoint, I know Yasser Qadhi said, white non-Muslims are thinking from a totally different paradigm, and he talked about when he gave his university classes, and he was able to allay their fears somewhat about Islam, but that took an entire semester. Whereas when you're looking at the general European polity, they only have like a split. May only have like a split second to talk to them, and the general consensus that I see from the Muslim community at large is that we're putting dawah to the side. There's no point in trying to reason with these people. They want us to we want them to respect Muslims, and we're going to do that by having all these angry French posts on social media day in day out, just this kind of this stream, this garbage bin of ideas that you see on social media, where Muslims just sort of vent their frustrations. And obviously, this is not going to change, the French's opinion on Islam. So, and I can't possibly see Muslim leaders, whether that's heads of state or whether that's, religious leadership, Yasser Qadi and Tariq Ramadan, actually sitting down with nationals, either in person or on video, and coming to an agreement on certain issues. I can't see that ending up well. I mean, you can't even discuss a cup of sugar with these two groups, let alone talk about religion, let alone talk about immigration, let alone talk about, Islam as a religion. You know, so yeah, I mean that's kind of what we see ourselves. It's kind of just a callousness on both sides, and as much as you want to acquiesce and say Islam doesn't condone this, or as much as nationals say um, you know, as much as they want to say that that we don't want to kill Muslims, we just want some sort of acquiescence, or some type of separation. I mean, they're just not going to come to an agreement on that. Like realistically, if you're in a Muslim country, most scholars say, if you're in a non-Muslim country, most Muslim scholars say that it's obligatory for you to give dawah on a personal level, or at the very least on a collective level. But with France, we don't really see that as much right now. I mean, and it's understandable. I mean, Muslims don't really feel comfortable on the whole talking to non-Muslims about Islam. And they kind of express the sentiment that it's just kind of an insurmountable wall to climb, that you're never going to be able to reason with them. But we have to start looking at alternative solutions. We have to start looking outside the box if we want to avoid civil war and civil conflict, because it's just going to get worse and worse. And our suggestion is indigenous French converts, or those French people who converted to Islam, should have, I know it's kind of too little too late, but they should have started their own sub-communities, married each other for the most part, and start their own sub-communities. So there's indigenous French Muslim communities, just like you see in Russia. There's indigenous Russian Muslims, right? In America, you see large African American sub-communities of Muslims, and the Latino community, Latino Muslim community is growing as well. But they don't think that way. They think, everyone's Muslim. When you convert to Islam, everyone's the same, and that's why white converts to Islam have to go through this enormous assimilative process, because right now it's like when you convert to Islam, it's a rejection of your identity, and you're seen as a traitor to your people. So, and that's why you see so few white converts to Islam, because it's such a huge, insurmountable leap. Like, a white person can read the Quran and say, okay, yes, I believe that it's true, but to actually leave, to say, okay, I'm a Muslim now, you're going to face enormous backlash from your people, and from the Muslims. You're going to be in a group of people who have a lot of anger towards your people, and we're going to say you're never going to understand how angry we feel, and that's just a fact. I mean, and you can say, okay, white Muslims are part of the greater Islamic fold, which is absolutely true, but our experience is completely and totally different. And I've just found it odd that Tariq and Yasser, even though they're huge intellectual scholars, never even mentioned during that whole podcast about converts to Islam, specifically white French converts to Islam, and the role that we can play, because we know thousands of people, French white people, and it shouldn't be a controversial idea, because when you look at any large metropolitan city, we have the Pakistani Muslim subcommunity, the Syrian Muslim subcommunity, the Algerian Muslim subcommunity, the Chechen Muslim subcommunity, and most of them are incredibly endogamous, and they only stick to their own people. I mean, yeah, on Eid prayer they all are all together, but at the same time, they have a very distinct subculture. So all we're asking is that, for when you're in a non-Muslim country, allow the converts of that country to do the exact same thing and keep their culture. And by that, you won't completely eliminate Islamophobia, but you'll reduce it to a larger degree. So that's my suggestion to Muslim community. Assalamu alaikum.